What is a seemingly insignificant choice you made that ended up having a major impact on your life? Took a Percocet for a herniated disc, liked how for the first time in my life I had no pain. Wish I had never realized what I was missing. Now I'm sober 10+ years, but still what a waste of time. I opted to work the closing shift at Starbucks because I had nothing else to do. Met my wife, moved across the country, got divorced, stayed in the area, and now my life is completely different. A friend invited me to join her prom. Almost said no, but decided to go. They had a raffle there and I won a scholarship and got my degree in business management. Checked out a new tea shop that had opened up a few blocks down. I ended up befriending the owner, and she told me about a coding boot camp. I was working as a stripper at the time. Changed my whole career and life trajectory. Took a random job at a vet clinic for some extra money while looking for jobs in my degree field. Found my absolute passion. Stopped to get groceries for stew, want to get a new spice or two to spice it up a bit. A gal was there looking at spices also. I asked what she'd suggest. We talked. I suggest someday she can come over and taste my concoction, but for now would she be interested in grabbing a bite to eat? 25 years later I'm still baking that stew for her as husband and wife. Decided to visit someone out of state that I had been in touch with online for 12 years. I had reached out to use his songs in a film I was producing expecting it to be a weekend friend thing. He wasn't my type. And I never left. That was almost 10 years ago. He passed away in April of 22 days after we became engaged, which comforts me all at once. We had an amazing 8 years together, including building a business that I love and I have somehow managed to run on my own. Was invited to a get-together but declined because I wanted to stay home to read a new book I got. Get-together was disrupted by the police after a noise complaint. When it turned, police discovered there was narcotics and unregistered firearms. Almost everyone got arrested and fined. Pretty boring, but at least I got to stay home and not have an arrest on my record. Found a poster on the wall in front of my physics classroom about study abroad in Japan. Unlike most study abroad programs, it wasn't Tokyo-based. Tore off an info slip and looked it up when I got home. 7 years later, I'm living in the same rural prefecture and helping teach English to a gaggle of farm children, and eating miso soup made from the vegetables my neighbors give me. Decided to go to my chiropractor after injuring my back, ended up finding out I had cancer. Me and this lady I worked with were at a bar once and I got drunk and told her she had great boobs. Married almost 10 years now. Took a sideways move at work. It wasn't a promotion and the money wasn't that much better, but it was something different and I could work from home. It skyrocketed my career and now I earn the kind of money I never thought possible. What I'm learning from all of these comments is that life is mostly about luck. I switched from studying Spanish to Japanese because my friend wanted to study Japanese and didn't want to do it alone. Now I live in Japan. I sold weed to a dude in college that told me to do a computer science major when I didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I make $160K as a software engineer now. Going to a nightclub drunk and high with my brother. If I hadn't been so loaded, I might not have been so outgoing and my future wife wouldn't have taken my hand to dance. Smoked weed with a friend, got randomly drug tested at work 2 days later and panicked applied to a bunch of places hoping to get hired before I got fired. Got an interview at a really prestigious place, started whole new career and got me out of a life of working retail. Funny enough, I passed the drug test. Asked one of my co-workers if I could shadow his dad at work because I needed clinical hours, and didn't know anyone in the new state where I was attending undergrad. His dad became my biggest mentor, later offered me a job, then wrote letters of recommendation for my medical school application, and I ultimately matched into the same specialty and will devote the rest of my life to a career practice similar to his. I needed to take a psychology class to graduate college on time and the only class available was an interviewing class. At the time I had no idea what I wanted to with my life. After that class I decided wanted to work in mental health and applied to grad school. Best decision I've ever made. Randomly decided to take her elective on deviance as a part of my minor in college. Met the professor who impacted me the most. She convinced me to apply to grad school, despite that I never thought I could get in. Was my top recommender, all that. Haven't gotten my master's yet, but graduated last August and registered for my first semester of grad school this morning. Getting on a horse on August 24, 2023. Grew up riding horses all my life. I may never walk again. I told a girl in high school I liked her backpack. We talked a bit and became best friends, and she introduced me to a Harry Potter forum in 2004. In that forum, I met my wife. Decided to move in with my family again after being tired of struggling with money. The very next week, living with my family, I noticed that my mother was having some worrying symptoms, so I took her to the hospital. She was having a kidney failure that would have been incredibly serious had we waited any longer. I got drunk at an airport TGI Fridays on a long layover. A tech recruiter happened to sit at the bar beside me for a while. She convinced me not to drop out of university and get my degree, even though I'd already found a job I loved and I really disliked uni. Over the next few years that job became terrible and I was so glad I kept going to school, or I would have been stuck working there. Now I have a good job that I could not have gotten without that degree. At 19, a friend and I went to see a band play in Dallas. We ended up hanging out after the show with them and got talked into going on tour for a week to LA. We left that night and never looked back. That was 28 years ago. Sent a quick note to a friend that I had not talked to in 20 years due to a falling out. They responded and we are again the best of friends. Decided to join a book club for free snacks. Little did I know, I'd meet my future business partner between the pages of a novel. When they were first pregnant with my younger brother, my parents have me on camcorder giving them my blessing to have another baby, which is how they decided to cutely announce I'd be a big sister. Anyway, my brother owes his entire life to me, the one that granted him permission to continue to be born. You're welcome, Jeff. Said yes when a friend invited me to go to a haunted house with her and her friends. I don't like scary in-person things, and big groups especially of new people make me really anxious. My now husband was one of the friends there. I never saw myself getting married before I fell in love with him, and now we have a nice little life together with our cat son. I made a New Year's resolution to say yes to hangout requests. So I went clubbing with some people, which led to one of them inviting me to hang out, which ended up with me invited to her birthday dinner, where I met a friend of theirs who I've been married to almost 12 years now. I left my hometown, we're on baby 4, my life was shaken. My college boyfriend asked me to come work with him at AF because he was bored at work, but really he probably just wanted me to drive him. I agreed, and met my now husband on my first shift. On a whim I signed up to work on the school arts magazine. There, met a girl who was my college sweetheart. She's the reason I took a whole lot of lit and art and history classes, just so I could be near her. We moved on after undergrad and I ended up pursuing a computer science math degree. However, those classes really changed the person that I became. I figure if I'd just taken the CompTIA curriculum I'd still be the asshole that I was on the path to becoming. Not really minor but applying for a pediatric cancer survivor scholarship thingy. I beat cancer earlier this year and today found out I fucking won 1K from the scholarship, like holy shit. Made a profile on Facebook dating on a whim, not expecting to get anything out of it. Ended up meeting my husband, and we celebrate our first wedding anniversary in January. All of them. Life is made of small decisions. Let's just go marriage. First I joined a Prodigy board in 1990. I wrote some drunken thing because it seemed funny. We met, got married, quit our jobs, bought a boat, and went sailing. We were together 9 years, but the last 2 sucked. Second, I went lunch at a place on Thursdays. A new waitress was bussing a table singing Zip-P-Doo-Dah. I complimented her for actually knowing the second verses. About a month later she said you should give me your sometime. I did. Married 10 years this year.